You ever meet somebody and the connection just feels instant? Intense, like your entire body recognizes them before your mind does. Like, oh, this is something. Yeah, we're talking about that today. Because sometimes that spark, that I can't explain it, but it feels like fate, isn't love. It's your nervous system recognizing a familiar emotional pattern and calling in a connection. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Rebuilt Different. I'm Epiphany Page. Today we're breaking down the difference between chemistry versus trauma bonding, anxiety versus butterflies, and intensity versus intimacy. And how sometimes the love language that you think is yours is really just the one that your childhood trained you to accept. Most people don't fall in love with a person. They fall in love with what their nervous system recognizes as home. So if love, when you were growing up, meant proving yourself, earning affection, soothing somebody else's moods, repairing what somebody else broke, or waiting for emotional closeness that never arrived, then your body learned that love is something that I need to work for. Love is something that I have to earn. So when we meet someone who makes us chase them, or perform, or guess where you stand, your body doesn't say or recognize that this is unhealthy. It says, oh, I know this. This feels like love. That's not chemistry. That is conditioning. So let me give you guys a real example. Maybe some of this might sound a little bit familiar to you and your own patterns. Someone I knew grew up in a home where apologies didn't sound like, I'm sorry, I understand how I hurt you. Love didn't sound like repair. It sounded like gifts, tension, withdrawal. Then a gift would show up as a stand-in for accountability. So this person learned, oh, we're good again when we reconnect after pain. Not because anything was discussed or healed, but just because the cycle reset. Fast forward into adulthood, and every time her dude fucked up, instead of talking, owning it, changing anything, he would come back with a gesture, or a trip, or a gift, or a moment. And then she would take him back every time. And I'm not knocking anybody because I have been there so many times. So many times it's embarrassing. But it's not that we don't know better. And it's not that she didn't know any better not to take this person back. It's just because your nervous system recognizes the pattern. So for a while, she thought that her love language was gifts. It wasn't. The gift was never the love. The gift was the relief. It was the, okay, I'm not losing you yet. Her real love language was consistency, but she just didn't recognize it because she didn't experience it. So chaos felt passionate and peace felt unfamiliar. Don't I know it? Now let's talk about another piece that keeps the trauma bond alive. The half-truth cycle. You know when someone tells you just enough to seem like they're being honest? Just enough to look open? Just enough to later say, I told you how I was from the beginning. But not actually enough to be accountable. None of that is honesty. That is calculated transparency. It's how little can I give and still keep access to you. So the pattern becomes, they fuck up, you call it out, they say, I told you who I am, and suddenly you feel dramatic for wanting respect. That is not vulnerability, that's a loophole. And honesty without change is just manipulation with better branding. If somebody's openness only protects them, you are not in a relationship, you are in a dysfunctional cycle. Here's a little tidbit of info for you guys. Did you know your brain releases more dopamine from inconsistent affection rather than steady love? Meaning the person who gives you a little, who disappears, then comes back intense, then pulls away again, feels more intoxicating than someone who would show up steadily. It's not soulmate energy, it's withdrawal and relief, a biochemical loop. And it feels like addiction because it is. So if you're in a spot right now where you're confusing anxiety with excitement, or if love only feels real to you when there's extreme highs and lows, and if peace feels boring to you, or you feel the most needed when you're fixing or soothing somebody, if yes, it's okay. I've been there. It's not about blame, it's just about awareness. And your body isn't wrong. It just learned love in the wrong emotional climate. And you're not broken. You're just rewiring. Your real love language is whatever makes your nervous system exhale. Not the thing that gives you a story, not the chase, not the adrenaline. Love is what makes your body rest. Safety isn't boring, stability isn't bland, and consistency is not dull. You just didn't get to experience it yet. So stop wasting your time on people who are not going to give you that. It's only keeping you further away from what you actually deserve. You just didn't get to experience it yet, but you will. And that's a rebuild. But what we're not doing anymore, we are not chasing love, we are not begging for clarity, and we are not shrinking to stay chosen. If they can't meet you where you're growing, then they don't deserve access to who you're becoming. And you can let them watch you elevate from where they're comfortable staying. All right, guys, that does it for another episode of Rebuild Different. Share this with your friend who keeps calling chaos connection. Subscribe, follow, stay close. This is Rebuild Different, where we do not go backwards. See you next episode.